Hi everybody. Today we're going to be creating some cabbage roses and discussing how geometry is actually in a lot of things that we don't really consider. A lot of times people will ask me how to draw a rose and I get that swirly thing with the U shape underneath it. That is not how it's done. Simple, simple, simple. You start with a square. I'm going to put my square a little bit off kilter so it's going to look more like a diamond. Then you draw a square inside that square. Then we draw a square inside that square. But I'm not going to match up this side and this side. I'm going to do it a little bit off. So maybe a little bit further down so it's not quite so perfect. Don't worry about the edges. Eventually it'll get really small. And I'm just gonna put that in the middle. Then around the edges you're gonna do some triangle shapes. Triangles. Try not to make them too perfect. But already you can kind of see how that looks like a rose. The next step in making this look like a rose would be to take the tops of these, which are going to be petals, and change them into something that looks more like a petal. To do that, you're going to make it look like the top of a heart, which is bizarre, but you'll see how it works in a minute. So round this, dip, and come back like a heart. Now what I'm going to do is to add some extra petals here and there. So I'm just going to tuck in a couple extra little swooshes. What's really going to make this look realistic is how you shade it. So what you're going to do is start at the bottom of where the heart would be and color lighter as you come out. Some of us have had some practice with this, and some of us need to practice more. So darker here, and then lighten up as you get to the edge. You could even leave that section at the top white. You don't have to color it. So I've got a little white space in there. Then I'm going to start with this one. Dark at the bottom, and lighter as I get to the edge. And I'll keep doing that all the way around. Now that the flower is colored in, we're going to go in and we're going to add the details that are going to make it look more realistic. So choose a color that's a little darker in the same color family as the color that you started with. So this is like a maroon color. And I'm just going to go in and force the darks a little darker. And that's really going to make some of this pop. Most of the shadows and things are going to be either in the center of the flower or around the edges. Not necessarily all the way through the flower. So I'm going to be selective. After the shadows are complete, I'm going to choose a highlight color, which is not really analogous, which means close to this color, but not across the color wheel. So I'm not going to choose green or something completely different. I'll choose something that's not too far off. So this is yellow. Orange is kind of a step or 3 away from pink. And I'm only going to just nip a couple of these petals with this color, not all of them. One of the final steps in cleaning up this rose is to go back with an eraser and try to get rid of as many of those pencil-y marks as you can, those gray pencil marks. And this will also help to bring out some of the highlights and blend your color. The final step in finishing the rose itself would be to add a shadow color, and the shadow color should be an opposite to the highlight color. So I chose yellow as my highlight color, and the opposite of yellow on the color wheel is purple. So I'm going to use a purple and just go around and clean up and pick out some shadows around the edges of the flower. Once you're finished with the flower itself, you're gonna put a stem in. Doesn't matter where, if it's on the top or the bottom or the side, it doesn't really matter. And some of these spiky things to show that there's some greenage underneath there. And then you're gonna add the leaves. When you're finished drawing the background, that's when it's time to color that up too. So again, pick a color or two that are close together. I picked a light green and a dark green, and use both colors when coloring in the leaves and the stems. And you're also going to want to go back with your highlight color, the same color used as on the rose. The final step would be to add your background color. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to use and what not to use, but you probably don't want to choose pink because your rose is pink. So you're going to want to choose a color that's going to stand out. So here you have it. Geometry can be found in nature and art and lots of things other than just math. So that's it for What Are We Doing Today? And I'll see you next time.